You know, just think about it for a second. Screens are literally everywhere. They're in every room of your house, and for sure there's one in your pocket right now. We're so used to them that we don't even really see them anymore. But have you ever stopped to think about the incredible journey they've taken to get here? Okay, let's dive into this.
So the big question is, how did we get from this giant piece of furniture that was basically the altar of the living room, a heavy wooden box with this tiny flickering screen inside, to this sleek, powerful little window that connects you to, well, everything, all the time? It is one of the fastest, most mind-blowing technological shifts in all of human history.
All right, so let's rewind. Our story starts way back in the early 20th century with an idea that honestly sounded like pure science fiction at the time, sending moving pictures right through the air.
Now, those first attempts back in the 1920s were absolutely revolutionary, but the tech itself was, well, it was basic. We are talking tiny, super blurry, black and white images. It wasn't until the 1950s that TVs really started showing up in people's homes, and even then, they were these expensive luxury items. Not everyone had one, which made watching TV a real community event.
And this quote right here, it just nails the feeling of the time. For those families huddled around that glowing box, it really wasn't just a machine. It was a portal. For the very first time, it brought news, entertainment, and scenes from far-off places right into their homes. It felt like actual magic.
But the next big leap forward? Oh, this was a total game changer. All of a sudden, that black and white window just exploded with life.
I mean, you have to try and imagine the psychological impact of this. Think about it. You've only ever seen the world on a screen in shades of gray, and then one day, boom, it's in full living color. It made everything feel more real, more exciting. Ads suddenly popped, cartoons felt like they were in a different dimension, and stories just became way more immersive.
So once color made TV this can't-miss experience, that was it. The television cemented its place right in the center of the home. It wasn't a luxury anymore, it was an essential appliance, just like a refrigerator. It was the main pipeline for news, for culture, and for entertainment.
So the picture is getting better and better. But the next big shift, it wasn't about what was on the screen. It was about who was in charge. For the very first time, the viewer was put in the driver's seat.
It sounds kind of funny now, but it's hard to overstate how much the remote control changed everything. Before the remote, changing the channel was a commitment. You had to physically get up, walk over to the TV, and turn a clunky dial. The remote gave us instant gratification, and a whole new behavior was born: channel surfing. It was this tiny little device that gave you a massive feeling of power.
And right when we got this awesome new power to flip through channels, bam, the number of channels to choose from just exploded. Satellite TV came along and completely shattered the old system of just a few broadcast networks. All of a sudden, you had channels dedicated to news, to movies, to sports, 24/7. The world was getting so much bigger, and it was all right there on your couch.
Okay, let's fast forward to the 2000s. Now the screen itself starts to go through its most dramatic physical change yet. That big, heavy box that had been taking up space in living rooms for decades, well, it was about to disappear.
It didn't happen all at once, of course. We went through a few phases. First, there was plasma, then came LCD, and then LED technology took over. And with each step, the screens got thinner and lighter and way more efficient. Suddenly, you could hang your TV on a wall like a piece of art.
And look, this wasn't just about the TV looking sleeker. Oh no, the technology inside was changing too. We went from analog to digital, and that shift gave us high definition. The jump in picture quality was just staggering. Watching sports felt like you were actually there, and video games became these incredibly rich, cinematic worlds.
And that, of course, brings us right up to today, to the era we're all living in. Because the screen didn't just stop at being flat. It got smart, and it broke free from the living room wall.
So what is it that actually makes a screen smart? It's one word: the internet. The second you connect a screen to the web, it's a whole new ballgame. It's no longer just a passive box that receives shows at a set time. It's an interactive portal. And this created the biggest shift of all. We went from a world of broadcast schedules to a world of personal choice. You watch what you want, whenever you want.
But really, the biggest revolution of our time happened when that screen jumped off the wall and into our hands. The smartphone made the screen intensely personal, totally portable, and constantly connected. It's not a shared family appliance anymore. It's your own private window to the world that you carry everywhere. So after this wild 100-year ride, from a fuzzy wooden box to a pocket supercomputer, it kind of feels like we've hit the peak, right? But the journey isn't over, not by a long shot. The next big question is, what happens when we move beyond the screen itself?
And this is the really mind-bending question people are asking now. After spending a century perfecting this flat, rectangular piece of glass, what if the next logical step is to just get rid of it entirely? And the ideas for what could come next, well, they're already here. You've got virtual reality, or VR, which isn't about looking at a window into another world, it's about putting you inside that world. Then you have augmented reality, or AR, which tries to blend the digital and the real by layering information right on top of what you're already seeing.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe in a few decades, future generations are going to look back at us with our amazing 4K screens and think it all seems just as old-fashioned as those first wooden boxes look to us now. It makes you ask, what will our window to the world even look like then?